So tell me a little bit more about what you guys are doing at the Riley Gaines Center and what's happening there. What sort of work you're being done there, and where can we check all that stuff out?
Yeah, so we do a lot of stuff. There's a couple ambassadors. Obviously, there's Riley, and then me. There's a girl named Caitlin Wheeler who was on the team with Riley. A girl named Paula Scanlon who was on the team with Will Thomas, the male swimmer who competed against Riley. So there's a couple of us, and we travel to campuses across the nation, giving speeches, talking to students. We have resources at the RileyGainesCenter.org to get help if you are going through a situation in your school or in your sport, if you know someone who's being impacted currently. You can also request a speaker on there. You can donate. You can take leadership courses to learn how to advocate for yourself and your friends, etc. So we're doing a lot of different stuff. I recently started recording like woman on the street videos, which has been pretty fun. Talking directly to random college students. Most of the time just ends with me getting called a name, like bigot or something, and then them running away, which is also kind of fun. But it just shows you that a lot of college students have no brain cells and no willingness to have a conversation. But yeah, what we're doing at the center is pretty fun. Definitely go check it out and check out Riley's story if you haven't already. Most people already know who she is, but yeah, pretty cool.
What story stands out to you the most right now from those woman on the street interviews?
Um, well, on the woman on the street interviews, I kind of ask like just random questions like, "Are you okay with a man competing in women's sports?" Stuff like that. I'm just most surprised when people say yes, and I'm like, "Oh, are you an athlete?" And they're like, "Yeah," and I'm like, "What?" There was a
Hmm.
rower at one of the California schools, and I was like, "Are you okay with a man competing on your team or against your team?" And they're like, "Yeah." And I was like, "But he's obviously going to beat you because males are stronger, right?" And she's like, "Well, yeah, I'll just try harder." And I'm like, that's exactly what we're fighting against. People who actually think it's okay for men to compete against them, because they just want to work harder. Yes, okay, female athletes, yes, work harder. That's great. It's always great as an athlete to work harder, to be the best. But not everyone is going to be the best. And it's very clear that we have biological advantages that men have against women. So inviting them into your sport is simply not okay. And it's not fair to your fellow female athletes who are not okay with it. So that's probably the most shocking thing is when people are athletes and are okay with the men in the sports. But there's definitely very few of them.
Yeah. Hmm. I feel like they're just saying that to say it.
Yeah.
Like there's no way that's accurate. Like there's the whole reason the Olympics are coming up in Paris, right? Imagine if we just had everyone competing against everyone. There's no divisions, nothing. There's maybe not even weight classes for like certain Olympic sports like wrestling or whatever the case may be. It's just like boom, there you go. Who the fuck would win all of those games? Who?
Right.
There might be a couple women who come in and do like some good stuff, but majority of them would get beaten by men. It's
Yep.
not to say that the men are better athletes. That's not the conversation. I know plenty of women who are way better athletes than me, but I just have a little bit more advantage of that. For example, my fiance played soccer in college. She's way better than me at soccer. Literally can run, dribble the ball, shoot, all of these things I don't fucking know how to do. But I would beat her in a soccer match because I would just push her down.
Yeah.
I would hit her with my
Exactly.
shoulder. She would fall down. I would dribble and I would score. Am I
Yeah.
better at soccer than her? Absolutely not. Am I 6'2, 230 pounds? Is she 5'4, 150 pounds? Yes. Like like I don't understand. That's a difference. There's a difference there, and it's okay if we acknowledge that. Again, she's better than me. She can run faster. She can run farther. She can run longer. Yes, but I am physically more dominant than she is.
Yeah.
So,
Exactly.
and we want women to be highlighted for how great they are at her sport. I mean, Caitlin Clark, for example, taking over the WNBA. That shit's fucking awesome. She's hella good at basketball, and all the rookies that come into the league, they're doing fucking sick. Would they be able to compete in the NBA? No. But that doesn't mean they're not good as basketball. That they are. They're
Yeah.
amazing. Way better than me. I don't play basketball, but my point still stands. But like that's why that we created the women and men divisions so
Yeah.
that people of elite status would be able to compete on elite levels with people in a similar domain. So there was fairness because fairness is much more important than inclusion when talking about sports. It's about fairness because, again, you're not going to get included in everything. That's part of the deal. But let's try and make it as fair as possible. And that's why there's weight classes. That's why there's sex divisions. That's why things are separated the way they are. And I don't understand why that's so complicated. That's
Well,
not me.
why Title IX was created to begin with, to allow
Exactly.
divisions, and now we see that it's being completely changed. So these men can take our scholarships. They can be housed in the same dorm as us. Imagine being like turning 18 years old, going to college, living away from home for the first time, and being stuck in a dorm room with a man, another
Nope.
18-year-old man who could be like 6'4", however many pounds, and you're just like a 5'2" girl who just went to college for the first time. And this man's identifying as a woman, and that's okay. But now, if you complain about it as a female, you are charged with sexual harassment under the new law of Title IX. Why is that okay?